for today's cup of coffee, we have something this is creepy. I mean, like, not in a happy way. Not in a happy way. Anytime we have to talk about governments and stuff like that, I would much rather, no, I would much rather be talking about selling Bigfoot hair. I really would. But this is unfortunately the time that we're living in. And this comes from the Daily Mail and was by Ronny Reyes. It was written July 23rd, 2022, updated July 24th, 2022. And the title of the article is, "You Can Take Someone's DNA and Design a Weapon That Can Kill Them. House Intelligence Committee member warns people not to share health data with sites like 23andMe because it can be used to program new bioweapons to target them."
Oh, hell no.
Link will be in the description box.
That's fucked up.
When this started several years ago, I warned people, don't do that.
Yeah.
And it's like, because then you've got some of the most private information floating around out there.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you even warned Elijah about that.
Yeah.
Oldest kid.
And it's, but it went unheeded.
Yeah.
So, it says, a member of the U.S. House Intelligence Committee warned that bioweapons are being made that use a target's DNA to only kill that person. It says, speaking at the Aspen Security Forum on Friday, whenever that was, U.S. Representative Jason Crow of Colorado warned Americans to not be so cavalier about sharing their DNA with private companies due to the coming of the new type of weapon. The coming of the new type of weapon.
Uh-huh.
Oh, it says that Crow said...
Ain't good.
What?
Ain't good.
No. Crow said, quote, "You can actually take someone's DNA, take, their medical profile, and you can target a biological weapon that will kill that person or take them off the battlefield or make them inoperable," end quote. The congressman said the development of the weapons is worrisome given the popularity of DNA testing services where people willingly share their genetic mapping with businesses to gain insight on their genealogy and health. Yeah. And the Democratic lawmaker stated also, quote, "You can't have a discussion about this without talking about privacy and the protection of commercial data because expectations of privacy have degraded over the last 20 years. Young folks actually have very little expectation of privacy. That's what the polling and data show," end quote. Crow, a former Army Ranger who served 3 tours of duty in Iraq and Afghanistan, continued, quote, "People will very rapidly spit into a cup and send it to 23andMe and get really interesting data about their background. Mm-hmm. Guess what? Their DNA is now owned by a private company. It can be sold off with very little intellectual property protection or privacy protection, and we don't have legal and regulatory regimes to deal with that. We have to have an open and public discussion about what the protection of healthcare information, DNA information, and your data look like because the data is actually going to be procured and collected by our adversaries for the development of these systems," end quote.
That's great.
Yeah.
Love that.
I mean, anybody you could see that coming.
Yeah.
I mean, you really could. It says 23andMe has repeatedly stated that it does not sell off customers' private information, but the DNA company is one of many that has provided information to police upon request.
What?
Yeah. U.S. Senator Joni Ernst of Iowa, a member of the Senate Armed Services Committee, said the U.S. rivals could use such DNA bioweapons to target food supplies on a vast scale.
Oh my God.
Ernst warned that biological weapons could be used to target specific animals that citizens, troops, or cities depend on, bringing that scarcity and food insecurity to weaken people.
Oh, wow.
Ernst said, quote, "Food insecurity drives a lot of other insecurities around the globe. There's a number of ways we can look at biological weapons and the need to make sure not only we are securing human beings, but then also the food that will sustain us," end quote. Earlier this week, the Washington Examiner reported on just how easy it could be for privately owned databases to be used to develop bioweapons such as the ones touted by Crow. The publication explained how DNA belonging to a target or the close relative of a target could be stolen and used to form a biological weapon effective against that person only. That technology could lead to highly targeted assassination programs and also make it much harder for killers to be tracked down. Similar technology could be deployed against U.S. agriculture by designing weapons which target only a certain breed of farm animal or crop. That could plunge the country into famine and leave the U.S. on its knees in the face of hostilities from a rival like Russia or China. Army General...
Love that.
Don't you think?
That is just wonderful.
Army General Richard Clark, commander of the U.S. Special Operations Command, highlighted how Russia had already shot to infamy with a less sophisticated version of the same scheme. Discussing the nerve agent poisoning of former double agent Sergei Skripal. I'm doing the best I can on this. In England of 2018, he said, quote, Russia is willing to use those against political opponents. They're willing to use them on their own soil, but then to go in on the soil of a NATO ally in the UK and use those. And as we go into the future, we have prepared for that eventuality, end quote. Oh, he continues, and I don't think we'll talk about it as much as we should and look for methods to continue to combat now, end quote.
Love it.
Skripal and his daughter, I think it's Yulia, were poisoned with the nerve agent Novichok in the English town of Salisbury and almost died from their injuries. Britain's then Prime Minister, Theresa May, blamed Russia for the outrage days later. I remember when that happened. Yeah, he was a political rival, and that happens a lot. He got Arkansas-sided from, he got Russia-sided. Last year, U.S. Senator Marco Rubio sounded the alarm that Russia and Chinese labs were processing the DNA tests of Americans through Medicare and Medicaid.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Rubio said in a statement, quote, it is ridiculous that our current policies enable the Chinese Communist Party to access Americans' genomic data. He further stated, there is absolutely no reason that Beijing, which routinely seeks to undermine U.S. national security, should be handed the genomic data of American citizens.
Yeah.
I'm looking to see. It says, in 2018, Ancestry, 23andMe, Habit, Helix, and MyHeritage all signed on to the policy drafted with the help of the Future of Privacy Forum, a nonprofit in support of advancing responsible data practices in support of engineering technologies, end quote. And that's according to Gizmodo. The guidelines, titled Privacy Best Practices for Consumer Genetic Testing Services and released on Tuesday, deal with scenarios where users' potentially identifiable and anonymous genetic information might be shared with law enforcement without a warrant and other third parties.
That's fucked up.
Oh, yeah. The new voluntary policies call for requiring separate consent from users before sharing individual level information with other businesses and more transparency about the number of requests for data received by and fulfilled for law enforcement. While all companies have said they agree to these standards of practice, there is no law enforcing the rules. Now,
and
I don't know that we have to worry about foreign governments as much as our own.
Yeah.
And as far as the genetic testing, yes, you could make it individual, but you could include groups of people, especially when you've got similarities amongst regions.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's fucked up.
It is fucked up.
I can see why you said that was scary, because that is scary.
It is. And when that first came out, it was one of those, don't do that.
Yeah. I'm glad I never did it.
Well, and that was just like we were laughing the other day. I can't remember what we were talking about. Oh, I know it was selling toenails on eBay or Etsy or whatever. And even then, that was before I even knew this article existed. It's like, don't do that because then somebody's got your DNA.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go back into...
Sell your feet pics instead.
Really. Into as far as the realm of magic, and if you get into black magic, dark magic, whatever you want to call it these days, that is one of the things when you are trying to curse someone, you need some personal something like hair, nail clippings, any of that stuff.
Yeah.
To target that person. So basically you're sending a demon or whatever, evil spirit to somebody to torment them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that evil spirit at this point is our government. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Coffee slurp.
I mean, have you seen the crows flying, circling above them? That's a bad omen.
Above the government?
Yeah, above the government buildings.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if there are buzzards sitting on the Capitol at this point in the White House. These are birds that smell death.
Crows.
Yeah.
Crows circling.
That's crazy. No, I hadn't seen that. Where did you see
There's
the
a clip.
footage of that?
There's a clip.
Oh, I'm sure there is. I mean, I just hadn't seen it.
You can find it on YouTube, and you can find it on TikTok, Twitter.
Well, people don't pay any attention to things like that, but they should, because there's always a reason behind the animals have got more sense a lot of times than people.
Yeah.
Because people have gotten so far away from who they are, who they're supposed to be, who they were designed to be. Yeah. Mm-hmm. We a screwed up species right now, totally, completely.
We are.
So.
Oh, yeah, Lord help us.
Absolutely, Lord help us. To design another kind of bioweapon that would only target specific populations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That could go into different races, specific races. Yeah. I mean, those of us in this area, we're mixed race.
Yeah.
So, who knows? And that it could target somebody if you've got more of whatever mixed in there, that it would affect you worse than somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's some scary shit. This is our world today.
Yeah.
And then they wonder why everybody's got anxiety. They need to hurry up and legalize totally the use of cannabis. I think that's one of the things that could help a lot of people.
Everybody just needs to fucking chill out.
Well,
smoke a blunt and just chill.
Well, I think not to the point where it would affect you where you couldn't think clearly. Now, that is one of the things in this day and time, you need to be sober-minded.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But that was just some freaky stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do I think that this is a form of black magic? I do.
It is.
And because people...
It's disgusting.
Well, people think that it's like, oh, well, that's just bullshit. That's woo-woo stuff. That's all this superstition and stuff. They can believe whatever they want to. That doesn't mean that it's truth. Now, that people have been doing this stuff for thousands of years the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Just a little bit different. But it's the same, that you've got to have that DNA to target a demonic attack.
Yeah.
Yeah. And people going to be going, it's like that little mountain woman, she batshit crazy.
No.
That don't mean I'm wrong. Ooh. Ooh. Yeah, it's disturbing. It is disturbing.
That. Ooh.
Mm.
Ooh.
I mean, what do you say other than, well, hell?
I don't know. I say, oh, shit.
And I'm one of these, I will alternate between people saying, it's like, oh, she cussing. No, I'm reclaiming original languages.
Yeah.
Original languages. Heritage. I'm reclaiming my heritage on it. But I will go from that to prayer, because it is constant prayer.
Constant.
Yeah, this is why.
Constantine?
Maybe. Oh, and I will tell the people that when somebody posts an ugly comment, that is a cry for prayer. In my world, if somebody is triggered enough by something we've said, or one of our, I call them mug shots, the coffee mugs.
Yeah.
Humor. Anything like that, if that triggers somebody enough to where they're willing to take their time to sit and write an ugly comment, and I'm talking BitChute, then that means that that's somebody that is a cry for prayer. Because if they, to sit around and do that, that person needs help. So if you need prayer, you can just send me an email.
I asked if I was the only one annoyed by the panic that this one woman was experiencing, or like exhibiting because of a house cat that her child picked up. I was genuinely curious if I was the only one.
Right.
I wasn't meaning to be snarky, but I got people just being like hateful.
Well, I actually went and researched that. I mean, not that specific video, but some of the research that I did, it was talking about where people only have like 1 or 2 kids, whereas in the past they had like 15. No kidding. We had people around here and other places that they would have 13 kids, 15, all this stuff, some of them more than that.
Yeah.
Which makes me hurt to think about it. But, and it's like you had the older ones that took care of the younger ones, but when you only have 1 or 2 kids, that is a greater loss. So if you've only got 1 or 2 offspring, I can see how the thought of that kid getting hurt or, getting diseased or anything like that would be just that fear. And it is fear-based.
You didn't get that way with me.
The hell you say?
Not like that.
Oh,
no, not with the cats.
I just have, no, not with cats, but there was other things and stuff, you and your brother both. I mean, it's like, as a parent, the thought of your child being hurt or whatever, but you can't bubble wrap them and tell them to hide under the bed, because that is not living. And, I think you had responded that if this person, and she was putting her fear onto her child, instead of trying to edify herself and to edify the child about, whether it was cats or any other type of animal, that you treat them with respect.
Yeah.
And, but the kitty was not dangerous because it had a collar on. And the kid had picked it up.
And someone said, oh, it was wagging its tail. It wasn't wagging its tail in a annoyed manner.
Right.
They have multiple reasons why they wag their tails. It's not just one.
Right.
If it's just the tip, you don't got to worry about that. I don't think so.
And then it's true of any animal. And it's, there are individuals just like people are.
When they start wagging their tail like a dog, that's when you don't.
Right.
You leave that fucker alone.
Well, usually, if the cat had been, violent or aggressive or whatever, it would never have allowed the child to pick it up.
Exactly. And she said that she was scared of cats, and like at one point she was like, "Am I bad? Am I a bad mom?" Maybe. And I'm like, first of all, no one said anything about you being a bad mom. Right. No one said anything about your parenting abilities. That's your insecurity that you're putting out onto other people.
Yes.
Don't put words in my mouth. Don't do that. That is a manipulation tactic. Also, cut that out.
It is a manipulation tactic, but it was also wanting someone to verify her parenting skills. Because
it's her own insecurity.
It is her own insecurity. And that she was afraid if the cat had scratched the child or something like that. Well, guess what? You put some tea tree oil on the cat scratch, wash it off with soap and water first and different things like that. Mm-hmm. Don't be stupid about it.
Yeah.
And then you go on. It heals. I mean, what would have been the difference if the kid had been walking through the woods and got, and a twig scratched him?
Exactly. Cat scratch fever.
Yeah.
That.
Well, you can get bacteria, you can get different fungus and stuff like that off things that's been off the ground. But to bubble wrap a child and hide it away from the world, that's not living.
Right.
And then you're going to have a kid that has got some severe mental health issues.
So, like, don't put that onto your kids. Don't teach your kids that, because whether you realize it or not, even though you're trying to act all calm, they can still sense the panic in your voice.
Sure they can. Just the energy, the energy field, they can pick up on that. Non-verbal cues. And it's what we're not trying to do the fear porn thing on anything that we report. It's a matter of, this is concerning. Be aware of this.
Well, it's like her parents distilled fear onto her because they were emergency people or whatever the fuck. And it's like, so you're putting that on, so you're dealing with that trauma, and you're putting that onto your kid, potentially. No, don't do that. Work on your trauma.
Absolutely, work on yourself. But I mean, any of these things that we report, as far as, they can be scary. It's not a matter of being scared. It's a matter of being prepared. It is a matter of, thinking. It's a matter of strategy. On this, don't be doing the DNA collecting.
No, don't.
Even as far as, if you're around people that might be into some of the dark arts, don't let strangers take locks of your hair or nail clippings.
Are you a good witch or a bad witch?
So, I mean, that's true of lots of different types of magics. That personal identity. But do I believe that these governments are, summoning demons? Hell yeah.
Yeah, I believe that.
So, anyhow, if you've had experiences with the paranormal, supernatural, encounters with UFOs, aliens, cryptids,
zoology, cryptozoology.
Cryptozoology, yeah. As far as government fuckeries, if you've been witched by somebody that got hold of your nail clippings and hairs, yeah. Hey, that's another thing. Don't be selling your hairs on eBay. Sell the deer hair. You're better off with the Bigfoot hair.
Don't sell your farts in a jar.
Oh my God. That was just crazy. Some people's got more money than sense. If you've got more money than sense,
there are some freaks out there.
You can donate to us. I mean, seriously, if you've got that much money and you don't know what to do with it, send it to us because we can use it and we'll put it to good use. We got cats that need dental surgery. But if you've got local, regional, or family myths or legends, send us an email, cupofcoffeewithscream@gmail.com, and that is also in the description box. And honestly, if you do need prayer, then just email us. But automatically, if you put an ugly comment, that is us. That we will pray. It's like that person's hurting one way or the other, or they wouldn't be acting like that. So you will be prayed for. Yeah. You can just ask.
It's a good thing I'm not on there on the comments because I will bite back.
No, no, fight. That's how you fight hate a lot of times is with love. And that person, seriously, to take the time and the effort to put something ugly, that person needs prayer.
I agree.
Yeah. So.
If you like this video, don't forget to like, share, comment, and most of all, subscribe and click that notification button for daily notifications of our daily uploads. You got the...
What? I need more coffee. That's all. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's the face. It's the
only one I was issued. Yeah. Know that you are loved.
If y'all could see the face, if y'all could have seen the face, y'all would understand.
I was just sitting here. I'm just sitting here with coffee that's cooling off, and I need to reheat it. Know that you all are loved.
It's just funny.
May your coffee pot never run dry.
Disney could do, like, if they ever do cartoon animations again, they could just simply do her.
Yeah. It's like somebody who
perfect.
Said me doing voiceovers, and I'm like, probably just for cartoon characters. Yeah. It's all good. It's all good. Actually, I really did appreciate the compliment.
You could do it. I believe you.
Hey, if somebody contacts me and says, "Hey, will you do a voiceover for this?" Why, yes, I would.
You got to audition.
I actually did do that at one point, but I don't know that it was a scam.
Well, you just like audition.
It's like, mountain speak. Do mountain speak.
Yeah.
I do it well.
Yeah.
So. We'll see you on the next cup. Bye.
Bye.